We are live. Hey everybody! Welcome to Feelings with the Geekiary. This is our annual Pride webcast. There's my flag. Yay! Pride. Uh,
Mm.
I am Jamie, along with Angel and Angie, and Kai will be joining us hopefully shortly. We are fans. We have feelings, and this is where we webcast about them.
I'll do the reminder, even though
Okay.
technically I don't do Twitter anymore. So, just for irony's sake. So you can join the conversation with the hashtag Geekiary Feelings.
There's
Because how will we know if we're wrong if you don't tell us? But since I'm not on Twitter anymore, you can also just kind of comment here, and I will probably see that pop up. That's my preference.
uh, we as a disclaimer, we would like to remind all of you that the views expressed on this webcast are those of the hosts as individuals and do not necessarily represent the Geekiary or the webcast itself as a whole. So please forgive us. Although with anyway, I don't know what's going on with Kai. I don't know if I should.
Um, we can
I
just
don't
let
know why
her
my
blank square. Oh, I think I heard her.
yeah no
Is your
I'm
vid-
here.
Your video is not working. I'm sure you can tell that.
It was just working. Glorious.
Maybe it's camouflage.
It might be. Who
Oh, well, there she goes. We can just
Okay.
continue.
No, we will. We'll add her back. Um, okay, so housekeeping. Don't forget about our Patreon. We have some new tiers and perks that you all should check out. We always appreciate the support of our patrons, but it's more important now than ever. Oh my god, it's now more important than ever because Google's AI whatever is messing with search results, and so like we're vanishing to the second or third page, and nobody clicks the second page of Google search results. I think everybody knows that.
Yeah.
So we would appreciate your support even more. Thank you.
Yes.
And be sure to check out the rest of our YouTube channel, which is 95% free, doing reaction videos, but he's good at them, so that's okay. He makes very good faces, so at least watch for like that. And don't forget to check out the Geekiary's news section, where we try to stay on top of the latest happenings in pop culture. So some of the biggest news from the past week or so, because one of these from last week. But so we had 2 trailer drops. Venom, The Last Dance,
Yay!
which I know Angel is excited about.
Yes.
And season 4 of The Umbrella Academy, which is the final season. Those both come out this summer.
No, Venom is October.
Venom is October, my bad.
Yeah.
That's an early trailer for October.
I know. And it was actually supposed to be the week of the election, but they were moving it up a couple weeks so that the election doesn't destroy it, which makes sense because like we're all going to either be depressed or like celebratory, and not many people are going to be thinking about like,
going to see Venom, yeah.
Our alien space goo friends.
There are also the I can't remember who announced it, but it's the Japan Society has announced the first ever American Manga Awards. That's going to be held in New York the day before Anime NYC, which is in August now. It used to be in November. So I tend to get invites from stuff from Japan Society, so fingers crossed. But anyway. And then there was some casting news for the third Benoit Blanc Knives Out film, which is called Wake Up Dead Man.
Alas, no Muppets.
Yes, no Muppets. That would have been awesome. Did you see
I deserve Muppets. We deserve them.
Did you see the like pitch that somebody had where it was like, it's the Muppet Show and like Daniel Craig, the actor, gets murdered and like Benoit Blanc comes to solve the murder?
Oh man,
that would have been awesome. But oh my god, who wasn't cast in this? It's like Josh Brolin, Jeremy Renner,
Andrew Scott.
Andrew Scott. Yeah, there's a lot of people. Mila Kunis. Although, sorry.
I want to like her so much because of her work in Exploited Children, but also.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But then,
Yeah.
did anybody have any other news they wanted to?
I haven't been keeping up with news, so most of my posts are just random crap at this point. So yeah.
Okay, well, in that case, we'll just move right into our discussion, which, as a reminder, is Pride. Yay!
Yay!
To be perfectly honest with us, every webcast.
Yeah, see with a lot of like companies, like media companies or whatever, like Pride Month is the one month where they do all of the gay stuff, but then we do that year round, so it's for us just a little bit, more rainbows, like just
Exactly.
one more rainbow in our
I bust
array
out
of
the
rainbows.
flag. That's the
Yeah, there
difference
you go,
between
there
this
you go.
webcast and ours. There was, speaking of, that's actually a good segue. So we do an annual, the blog, like we try to do an annual challenge every Pride month that we call Pride Reads. We have our first Pride read up.
We know we have time. We've lost.
All right, listen. Sometimes your toddlers are having a bit of an evening, and you have to run downstairs to go to the playroom in your Snuggie because someone threw food all over your clothes. You're cool, nerdy podcast clothes, so you have to run down to the playroom. And time to put your butt in your face, okay?
Does the cat have any news?
You should feel honored.
Yeah, Nimbus, what's your Pride read, babe? She said she still hasn't finished season 3 of part 1 of Bridgerton, so she doesn't know.
Finish it. No. But
she's waiting on part 2.
I have Thursday off. I'm actually super excited. I didn't do that on purpose, by the way. But oh yeah, so
of course you didn't.
I didn't. I work this weekend, so I have Thursday and Friday off. So Pride Reads, that was something I started for myself like years ago when BookCon was still a thing, and there was a panel for like LGBTQ books, and I was like, oh my god, I don't read any like LGBTQ books, and so I'm like, I'm gonna do that. So every June I decided to do that, and now I pretty much only read LGBTQ books, so it's kind of like redundant, but I'm like, it's a good opportunity to spotlight some queer books that people might not have heard of. I thought I would be finished with my first book by now. I'm like almost done, but it can't spell treason without T. So it's very good.
Regency? Colonial?
Regency,
fantasy, colonial, what is it?
Yeah, I would say it's a fantasy where it was like one of the main characters is like the high mage of like something, and the other one was a queen's guard in a different country, and they were like, yeah, it's good so far. There's dragons.
I'm just straightening my tie. I'm sorry. It's driving me nuts on the screen.
Okay, the next couple things on there on the list of our discussion points are mine. I don't know if we want to go out of order, so I'm not just sitting here talking for 20 minutes.
I'm gonna drop a book read.
Oh yeah,
talking about books. Escaping Mr. Rochester. You guys know that I like the Bronte sisters. Charlotte, my least favorite Bronte sister, but this book by Ella McKinney, it's reasonably new. I think it may be I think it's young adult, but it's still good. Who cares? Essentially, Jane Eyre, Bertha Mason, the two female characters in Jane Eyre, they are trying to escape Mr. Rochester together.
Ooh.
And I don't want to get too much into it, but you should read it. It is a delight. It has characters we love. It has characters reimagined as characters of color. They are gay as heck. and it's delightful. You should read it.
Gay as heck, I feel like should be our
It's our
Hey, a second
sub tagline. We're fans. We have feelings. This is where we talk about them. Also, gay as heck.
also gay as heck. Yeah.
Well, if we want to mix it up so it's not all your stuff, I can move on to my first thing on the list, which is the new Fallout show that just came out like a month ago, I think. So not too old. It's relatively new. And like most genre television and genre media generally, conservatives very much do not understand it. Like, they're like, this show is woke, and it's like, this show about a nuclear apocalypse driven by corporate greed is woke. Like, really, like, it's amazing. But anyway, the reason I'm bringing it up during our Pride event. Oh gosh, we have. Is that Nimbus again?
Yeah. She really wants to be on the webcast. Okay. I guess I'm a cat, you guys. I'm a cat today.
Well, anyway, the reason why I'm bringing up the Fallout show on the Pride webcast is because there is a potentially non-binary character, and the reason I say potentially is because it's never really clarified. Pronouns only used once, and it's they, them. And they never really, like, say anything. So my assumption is non-binary. The character is named Dane, and they're played by, it's an actor I'm not very familiar with, so give me a second to pull up the name. Celia Mendez Jones, who uses both they, them, and he, him. So whether the character follows suit or not, I don't know. But I thought that was worth bringing up. And their very existence on the show, like everything else, like, drives conservatives insane, which I just think is pretty funny considering the content of the show. But it's a really good show, even if you haven't played the game. So I highly recommend that.
Yeah, I've been watching it. I watched it myself too, and I hadn't played the games before. Now I am playing the game because of the show.
I legitimately have Fallout Vault open in another window. So if you guys hear death claws, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, it's my phone lock screen now. Like, I made my phone a pit boy, so I'm quite into it. So
Okay. So I had another point on this, and Fareed was supposed to be here to help me talk about it, but he's not. But we actually talked about this on last year's Pride webcast, which is the show 911, which, as it sounds, is about first responders in Los Angeles. And there's a very popular ship on there called Buddy, which is Buck and Eddie. And as I have always said about them, there is no heterosexual explanation for a lot of their stuff. But now it's not entirely heterosexual because they made Buck bisexual. Yay! And I thought it was important to talk about because this is a show, like, it's in season 7. And I'm trying to think if there's ever been another show that's had a main character who's
been around for this long.
He's been around since the beginning, and and have him realize that he's bisexual. Because there have been, I mean, if you watch the show from the beginning, there were definitely moments where you're like, is he bi? But he only ever has dated and been with women. So that was the excuse that people were giving in like discussions, that it's like, oh, he can't just suddenly be bi. Like, well, yes, he can, because
suddenly be bi. What?
Suddenly bi. I'm like, because not everybody not everybody realizes they're gay when they're 10. I was in my 30s, so like, and I appreciate that they're having like I actually don't know how old his character is supposed to be. I want to say 30s based on, I think that it is like season 7. It's been like 7 years since, I think. So I think it's a really important story to have. Unfortunately, I don't think this season was the season to do it in. Like, I'm glad that they did, but this season was shortened because of the strike.
Oh God. Sorry, that brings back such like bad memories of like the strike from like 2005 that like whatever
Heroes?
That messed everything up.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had a visceral.
No, it's fine. Cause that's the thing. Like, because it was the seasons are normally like 14 to 18 episodes, and this one was 10.
Mhm.
And 3 episodes of that was a cruise ship sinking with like none of the like with only 2 of the characters on it. So like he has his bi awakening in like episode 4, and then they sort of like, and he actually got like he has a boyfriend, like, so it's not like they're ignoring it, but it was sort of just like, hey, Buck's bi, now what?
Back to
and,
the
like,
adventure. Yeah.
And on the one hand, it's like, okay, like it shouldn't be treated as a big deal. But on the other hand, like maybe one other episode about it. Like, well, it just really bothers me because he's not the first like queer character on that show. Because you have, oh God, I don't know how to pronounce her name. I don't know if it's Aisha or like Aisha Hines. She plays Hen. She's a lesbian, and she's been there since the beginning too. And there's been no scenes with like them talking about anything, which kind of bothers me because when everybody finds out that he's bi and has a boyfriend, everybody is shocked except Hen and her wife. They're like, "Oh yeah, we totally called it," and I'm like, "Have a
Not one conversation of them talking about it in the back, like, hey, guess who came out?
Yeah, like
I feel like Brooklyn Nine-Nine did that well because you had one of the main characters, Colt, who was out since the beginning, and then like several seasons in, you had Rosa Diaz come out as bi, and they actually had a scene where they talk about it, and like it was one of the more meaningful and famous scenes that gets reposted all over the place. So
yeah,
y'all had that.
So I appreciate that that's a thing that they're doing as a show because called it. But I just feel like this season was just like so crammed with other stuff that I'm like, I honestly, I mean, I've disagreed with a lot of their narrative decisions lately, but not that one. I agree with that one wholeheartedly. And apparently it was supposed to happen in like season 4, which makes a lot of sense if you watch season 4. But the original showrunner left for 911 Lone Star, and now he's back, and so now he's doing a bunch of the plots that he wanted to do in season 4.
It's Tim Minear, right?
Yes. So, which
I'm
makes
a fan of
sense
his.
because a lot of the stuff doesn't make narrative sense happening in season 7, but it would have made sense in season 4. But anyway, that was just.
I don't watch the show, but I consider myself fan adjacent because I have a lot of people on my Tumblr that watch it. So I've learned about the buddy just through osmosis.
Well, I watched it. I got into it because like during COVID, like I picked it up in almost near the end of season 3, which was 2020. So I think I got current just in time to watch like the last 2 episodes live, and then it went on hiatus. So, but then I stopped watching last season because I didn't like the narrative choices they were doing. I felt like it's just like you're hitting a dead horse for some things. Like it's very repetitive, which shows like that tend to be, you know, you just cycle a lot of the same plot lines. And I actually came back because of Buck. And then they started doing stupid stuff I don't agree with, and then I stopped watching again. So.
I mean, you can always watch the buck scenes and like YouTube Shorts or TikTok.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see
Someone
those on Tumblr. Yeah, like I see if I get it.
Just the super cut of just the Buck, nothing else. If there's nothing else on that, I can move on to my next one.
Oh, no, yeah, I'm good.
So this one, I'm sure people will have something to say about. I want to talk about Doctor Who. So Doctor Who has always been fairly queer, but like, you know, I mean, 20 years ago or slightly less than 20 years ago, like we had Jack Harkness, so it's like not.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more, so it's a little harder for some people to ignore at this point. For the special that happened a few months back, like when we got Tenet back and we had Dr. Donna and all that stuff, Donna's daughter was trans, so we got that. And then we have the confirmation that the Doctor is bi, which I'm having trouble remembering the exact quote, but he's like, I guess it's always been sort of that way or something like that. Like I can't remember the exact comment, but I just thought it was hilarious and wonderful. And then we have, let's see. I took notes because my memory is terrible. Oh yeah, one of the drag race winners was a character on it, or I think
Jinx Monsoon. Yeah.
yeah. I don't watch Drag Race, so I don't know where she or they. I'm not sure what the pronouns for Jinx Monsoon is, but
It depends on what they're wearing.
Mm-hmm.
the character used they them, so there's that. And then the casual mention of Ruby Sunday writing love songs for heartbroken lesbians, which I loved.
Which
So
apparently was the first time lesbian had ever been uttered on Doctor Who.
really,
How wild is that?
so like you have all of these things from the last like season, which I don't really know if you count the specials as a season, but you know, the last year of content.
RTD.
Yeah. And again, like it's always been sort of present, like not always, maybe not back to the 60s, but you know, like at least for New Who, it's been always present since basically the first season,
Wilson.
with 9. But yeah, I like the direction we're going with it. So
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the series. I've been amiss in my reviews of the last few episodes because personal life, but I've been really enjoying them, and I've appreciated that Davies has been not shy about making it overtly political.
Anyone
yeah,
who thinks that Doctor Who shouldn't be political or queer just does not understand the inherent concept of the whole show.
Mhm.
yeah.
I had someone tell me at a convention once, this is a children's show in Britain. It's only Americans who, yes, baby, I know, you agree. You agree.
Cat's like, you're right, man.
She's waiting for the cat doctor. She thinks she doesn't get the whole, yes, you can turn into a guy or a girl or whatever you want to be when you, whatever the factors are that influence your regeneration. She wants the cat doctor.
There was that
Yay.
one episode, the last episode of the classic series, where Ace turns into a cat.
Yeah, Nimbus, there's your episode.
I
There's
guess
a cat species. somewhere in
K9, the unit, the like robot, probably feels a bit unfair to Nimbus, doesn't it? It's like, why a K9? Why not like a feline?
She wants cats. All cat Broadway.
We've got the cat
But
nuns
oddly,
too.
Not cat. She says that
Aw.
one's creepy.
But yeah, as a fan of the classic series, I will tell you, yeah, the classic series is fairly queer too. There's a lot of Jamie 2 shippers out there. The Master and the Doctor. I mean, that's the end all be all of
Oh yeah, no, they're like
love
the
hate relationship. But I mean, that was from beginning with Pertwee, that tension between them, and I think even Ainley, who was the second Master, said something along the lines of he played it queer.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing. So I don't watch a lot of the older Doctor Who. I've seen some episodes here and there because like I was interested in some of the characters that they brought back, so I went back and watched those so I can understand those characters. But I don't know like the whole chronology of it. But science fiction in general has always sort of been progressive in a lot of ways. So the fact that it comes as a surprise to people that it continues to progress and doesn't stick to what it was in 1960s, like this show has been around for so long, like I don't know why they expect stasis. Like it's going to become more overt when these things like as time progresses. So if that bothers people, they should just get out now.
I mean, it's the same people that are like, oh no, X-Men is woke now. It's like,
I know. Get woke out of Star Wars.
yeah, or Star Trek.
Oh my
like, isn't
God.
too woke?
Get
Like,
woke out of
It's woke
Fallout.
at a
Like,
Star Trek
Well,
out of
Quantum
Star-
Leap, when the reboot started, there was a non-binary character there, and one of the fans was like, "Oh, now it's woke." I was like, "Did you not watch the first?"
like that's kind of the point.
yeah.
The second episode had him being, black, and standing at the lunchtime counter during the 50s.
I miss Quantum Leap.
The new series actually wasn't that
Off
bad.
topic, but I miss it. Admit
Yeah,
it.
new series wasn't that bad. I'm sad it got canceled. I was surprised how much I enjoyed it, considering Quantum Leap's one of those shows that I that is my show kind of thing. I used to watch, I wrote slash fic for it kind of thing. I read all the
Uh-huh.
books and all that stuff, and so I was really nervous whether or not I'd like the new one. So I
I
was
didn't know there were
pleasantly
books, so
surprised.
that's
Yeah,
me.
and comic.
Oh.
Like,
Anyway, that's
Nimbus, come on, I'm working here.
neither here nor there.
No matter where I
Uh,
move my head, she's like, no, everyone look at me.
Oh, you're gonna miss my visual aid.
No, I want to see the visual aid.
Okay, so when I tweeted the link for the thing, I was like, "Who wants month-old BLT?" Because that's what I have. I was like, "We're gonna talk." So okay, so bit of a primer for people not familiar with Thai BL industry. It's largely set pairs. So there's two actors and they're paired together, and if they do a BL, they do it together. There are some actors that don't have a set partner, but for the most part, it's set pairs. And so, as you can imagine, it's bad in the West with people shipping like RPF and all that kind of stuff with like Tyler Hoechlin and Dylan O'Brien with Steric, and like people were like feral about that. Like, so it's pretty bad with Thai BL because they're set pairs, so they're in all their shows together, and they do a lot of fan meets and all that kind of stuff. And there's a certain level of fan service that's sort of expected.
Feels intentional.
Yeah, well, but also some of the time is like, I mean, they're all just really good friends, and so I'm never sure how much of it is like fan service and how much of it is just like they're just friends and that's how they are. Case in point. So this was about a month ago, and it's involved two pairs, and they're some of the older ones, like they're actually in their 30s, and they're my favorites. So you have Tay and New, and then Off and Gun. Okay. So what happened was they were in Japan for a fan meet, and they were hanging out in the hotel room together, and New was on like Instagram doing a live stream, and he happened to turn his phone and had just happened at that moment to capture Gun kissing Tay on the lips. And like everybody sort of went crazy for various reasons. So you have the ghost shippers, the people who like Tay and Gun together. They were like, "Oh my god," like freaking out. And then you had a bunch of people like me who were like, "Okay, now Off should kiss New. Like that's just fair." But then you had a vocal minority who were like angry because that's outside their pairing. Like,
Oh no.
And so there were a bunch of people that were like mad at Tay, even though Gun is the one, and Gun got a lot of crap too. But like, it was basically like, how dare you betray the fans like that and everything.
Oh god.
And so what happened was Tay went on Twitter and was basically just like, look, we're friends in our 30s and sometimes we kiss, get over it, which I just thought was the best response ever. I actually wanted to write about this when it happened, but I'm not familiar enough with the Thai language to have been able to like translate it, and I didn't want to like paraphrase everything. But anyway, so he had that response, and then like people were still upset about it, and so then I think they did another live stream or whatever, and he was like, "Listen, you don't understand. Like, Gun was mad because we weren't paying attention to him." Because they were playing video games. Like, he and Off were playing video games. And he's like, Gun gets mad when we don't pay attention to him. Anyway, so that was it was a big thing, and I'm not really doing this justice. But the thing is, that's the whole thing with the fan service, because Gun is actually like very affectionate, like with everyone, with all of his friends. Primarily with Off because they're like partners, but with Tay, to a lesser extent with New, with other people. And so basically, like, anytime he hugs anybody, people are like angry about it. And it's like, dude, he's a hugger. Chill. Like, Tay even says that like he grew up very differently. Like, he grew up in a very affectionate family, and the rest of them aren't really like that, but they are with him, so. But anyway, I just wanted to share that because that was like I saw that gift. I saw that gift everywhere for like a solid week.
It's an interesting glimpse into like other real person shipping.
Yeah, and it was it was like it was peck. It's not like they were like making out or anything. It was like peck on the lips, like the way you would like kiss like, good morning, like that. It was nothing, and people were like, I mean, I still think off should kiss new. I just think that should happen, but
everyone should kiss everyone.
I agree. That's just more kissing. Like,
of course, that's a dangerous thing to say, like in the like COVID germ era, but I stand by it. Everyone should kiss everyone.
I was legitimately just thinking, oh, germs.
Everyone can get vaccinated and then kiss
beautiful.
everyone. There you go.
Did everybody like my
kiss
visual?
me on the hand,
Yes.
like we're in medieval times. They can just kiss my hand.
Kiss my broken hand, please. Make it better. It's boo-boo. Like, please. Sorry.
I mean, I have a ring. They could kiss the ring, but that feels like a different vibe.
Yeah, we would have to call you Pope at that point.
Your Eminence.
Oh, anything else on that one? I could move on to my next bullet point. I don't know if anyone knows anything else about time.
Like, I'm sure I
the only one.
I have nothing to contribute to that, T.
It's your domain. Okay, I will move on to House of the Dragon, which is coming back in a week. And probably kind of wondering why I'm bringing that up during Pride, but I think it's really cool that the main actor of a HBO flagship show is non-binary. Like, somehow they snuck past Zaslav while they were cutting everything queer out of the network and managed to still be the star of House of the Dragon. So that's Emma Darcy, whom I adore. And the promo material for House of the Dragon has been really leaning into like the chemistry between Emma Darcy and Olivia Cook. So like the promo material has them like snuggling up and basically like kissing each other, like as the actors, not as the characters. So it's like they're really like catnip, tempting queer people to the show, even though the content of the show itself is not very queer. They recognize, at least not yet, who knows, I mean, they're shippers. Maybe we'll get our dream. But their chemistry is incredible, so I can kind of see why they're doing it. But I just want to bring that up because I'm very excited about it and think that these two beautiful people cuddling in all the promo material is worth mentioning during Pride. I'll be reviewing that starting next weekend. So, I mean, I'm going to try. My hand is making it a little difficult, but there will be attempts.
Okay, it looks like all of the discussion points are me and Angel, so we'll just trade back and forth.
Sounds good to me.
So, back on BLs.
Yeah.
I really wish like people would stop sleeping on these. I don't know if it's because it's the language barrier and people don't want to watch subtitles or anything like that, but there are some really good shows that they're putting out, and they're getting a lot more varied as they come out more and more, and most of these are free to watch on YouTube, so everybody should watch them. But the ones I wanted to highlight are Wandy Good Day, which is I'm currently reviewing. That's currently airing. It airs on Saturdays because one of the characters is ace, and this is the first time there's an actual stated asexual character on a Thai BL. I don't know about other BLs, but I know on a Thai BL, like he's the first one. And it's actually like legitimate. In the first episode, he talks about how hard it is dating because people expect sex and he doesn't want that. So so far he's basically just the person that's moving the plot along and telling the main character, you're obviously in love with the dude you're fake dating, so maybe like get on that. But I'm hoping that he gets an actual plot line for himself at some point. We're halfway through the series, and I know that in the second half they tend to throw in a lot of stuff. So hopefully that'll happen.
How long is like the average like Thai BL, or at least I assume this was Thai. I didn't look at the notes.
Yeah, they're
okay. Small Thai BL for you right
usually,
now.
They're usually 12 episodes.
Okay. Not too
Sometimes they're shorter, sometimes they're longer. Because I'm watching We Are right now too. That's going to be 16, but that's because they're adapting 4 books into
Are
one
these
show.
like half-hour, hour-long episodes?
About an hour? Yeah.
So you can binge a season in an entire day if you got nothing else going on. You
Yeah,
can do that.
I
That's totally
have.
possible.
I actually, I worked from home on Tuesday and I binged Never Let Me Go again. Like, and like,
Let's hope your boss ain't watching this. No, I'm kidding. They won't care.
I worked from home. I still worked. My work got done. It was just on the TV.
You know, studies have actually shown that if you work an office job, especially data input, and you are watching something that you have watched before, that new content, you actually perform better because you have less inattention lags,
Yeah,
and you also have a heightened awareness of doing 2 things at once.
yeah. I work better with background noise, so that's I usually put on a show. It's been Bridgerton for the past couple of weeks, but anyway. And the other show that I wanted to highlight is actually a GL, which is Girls
Ooh.
Love, and this was not the first one, but GMMTV's first one. GMMTV is the company that puts out I watch most of their BLs. So this was called 23.5. The actresses are very popular because they were a side pairing in a BL a couple of years ago. But again, they're a set pair, so they're different characters. It's just the same actresses. But this one was notable because as a GL, it had 3 pairings. They were all ladies, and one of the pairs was the teachers because they're in high school, and both of those characters and the actresses are trans, and it was the first first relationship between 2 trans people on television in Thailand.
Cool.
So, and it's very cute. I really like Milk and Love are the actresses that are the main pair, and I love them so much. And also it had, because Thai shows in Thailand work differently. So it's not so much views that matter. It's audience engagement. So Twitter trends basically. And so their final episode had the second highest engagement of any show they've ever put out, second only to Together, which it's insane that is it. But that came out in the height of COVID, so people were at home watching it. But it had something almost, I think, if not 2 million, almost 2 million posts, and it trended worldwide.
Wow.
Man, it's unfortunate that Twitter is still vital for some of these things to succeed. I wish that we could completely separate from it.
Yeah, because it's the way that it works in Thailand is that they will film a pilot trailer for something. So they just film the trailer. It's not like they cut the trailer from stuff they filmed. They just film a trailer, and then they present it, and then they need to get sponsors in order to film it. So the engagement is important for getting the sponsors, because it's oh, look how popular this is going to be. Look how many people are going to be watching and seeing your products, because there's a lot of, product placement in these shows. And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's ridiculous, but
I can't remember which country produced it, but I know that in product placement can get a bit ridiculous. There was one that was the characters worked in a subway or something, and it's that was their sponsor, and so the characters worked there. It's okay, well, hey, at least it got me. Good job. Yeah.
For Kin Porsche, one of their sponsors was some kind of bread, and so that there's a scene where they're in bed and they're eating the bread that. And I was just well, now I kind of want to try this bread. And also most of the shows that I watch are sponsored by some company that makes tea. And so I'm going to Thailand with a friend next year, and I'm I gotta buy this tea. I don't even like tea, but I need to drink this tea because I see it in every freaking show. Anyway, I wanted to point that out. Engagement is very important if you want to get into Thai BLs, specifically Thai. I don't know much about the other countries. I can do a primer.
That would
Like-
that'd probably be a pretty good post. Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's, I joked in like December, January, like my weekends were all gay. It was like Friday gay, Saturday gay, Sunday, because there was a BL I was watching on every weekend day, and now that happened again, and now even like my week is even gayer because We Are is on Wednesdays. Yesterday, My Love Mix Up, the Thai version started. That is going to be super popular. Like that already had over 1 million posts trending on Twitter with the first episode. Normally it takes like you need like till episode 10 to get to that. But it was already doing so. This is going to be insane because the 2 stars, Fourth and Gemini, are like super popular like globally. Teen Vogue interviewed them. Like I think that's the only time Thai actors have been in like interviewed by a Western publication, and not like the Thai version of the publication, because like there's a Thai Vogue, there's a Thai, but and then Saturdays of course is Wandy Good Day, which everybody should watch. It's awesome. And then tomorrow there's a Love Sea, which is not GMMTV, but I've been excited about that because of 2 of the actors that are in it. So that's my weekend. My weekend is going to be very gay.
As is right.
Yes.
Anytime, but especially during Pride Month. So I guess back to me.
Yep.
And back to HBO. So we're going like Thai BL, HBO, Thai BL, HBO. We're just gonna keep doing that. Of course, my HBO stuff is really sad because Zaslav is in charge. But right now I want to talk about Our Flag Means Death and the fact that it unfortunately was not renewed for a 3rd season. That news is a few months old. Yeah. So that's not new news.
Though.
But the fandom is all kind of like nervous at the moment because it's Pride Month, and we're kind of curious to see if Zaslav and the rest of the HBO executives are going to try to like use it to like court queer people during this month, because like after all the crap they pulled on us, like we're not going to take that very well. So there's like lots of memes going around. Like if you watch the show, like during the 2nd season when they're all aboard the new ship and like standing around kind of hesitantly, and like Lucius is like smoking like and very like agitated, people like put a caption over that says, "Oh, Our Flag Means Death fandom waiting to see what Zaslav will do." It's like so far I don't think they've tried to use it really. Like I did see they posted like a montage of stuff, but I didn't watch it to see like if they included it because I didn't want to give it a view. But that's kind of where we're at on that. Unfortunately, people are still trying to get that show picked up by other networks, but the showrunner basically said that it's dead. So
That sucks.
and that's my sad HBO news. Do you have anything cheerier to follow that up?
Actually, no, because
No, everything
Mine
is
is-
sad.
well, mine is just when will we get the old guard 2? I am still. This was something that Fried and I
Dying
talked
for
about
it,
last
dying.
year. Like, it's filmed. They filmed it. I don't know what's taking so long for it to come out. But like, it needs to come out. No pun intended. Like, where is it?
Well, if that's the only thing on that, I can go to my last bullet point.
Yeah,
for
no, it was just
discussion
me
points.
being angry. So
Man, I have all the sad news. I'm sorry. Like all my bullet points are just like upsetting. But I'm gonna talk about Star Wars, which does not have a good reputation with LGBTQ representation. I love Star Wars. Don't get me wrong. I am not anti-Star Wars, but I've only seen the first episode of The Acolyte, and the main character apparently has 2 moms, which is great and should theoretically get me excited, but it's just with Star Wars, it's always like the side, like, 2 women kissing in the background, or like
Stuff they can cut out.
yeah, something cut out for foreign markets, basically. And like the casual mention of her moms is something that can definitely be cut out easily. I haven't seen the 2nd episode yet, so I don't know if there's anything more, but after a quick Google search, I don't think there is. And it's like, I don't know. It's weird that, like, of the Disney stuff, Marvel is doing better at queer representation right now, which is not great. Don't get me, I'm not like being like, yay, it's the queerest thing ever. It's not. But Marvel is doing better on that front than Star Wars right now, which is strange to me because Star Wars has been around a lot longer, and like science fiction tends to lend itself to, you know, progressive themes a lot better, but somehow it's still lagging. So that's my
I have
other
to-
sad point.
I do have to jump in here and be like, Star Wars is science fiction, but it's more space opera. So you really have to judge it by like operatic themes and trends.
Yeah, well,
There's
I
gay
mean,
characters in the
what's more
comics.
dramatic than you know, gay romance? It's a pretty dramatic
Right?
like concept, so you should get into some opera there. So, but oh well, that's where we're at. I really need to catch up on it though. I'm behind on everything. I'm 2 episodes behind on Doctor Who. I'm an episode behind on The Acolyte. And then next week in House of the Dragon starts, and I'm gonna try to keep up with that the best I can. But like, all of my shows are just piling up, and that is one of them.
I know how that was me last year. This year I'm doing better, but I'm also not watching a bunch of stuff that I probably should be watching in order to
Yeah, I can't watch anything that I can't watch like this. Are you hurt? What's hurt? Your body or your mind? Okay. Let me know if you need help. Oh, cuss words. Don't get me wrong, I love the kids, and surprisingly, I do get to watch all the cool shows with a good excuse. Not that I need one like Bluey. But having toddlers around really limits the amount of House of the Dragon you can have on a screen anywhere they can see.
Yeah,
That's very true.
Yeah.
Well,
They're very smart.
we were talking about this beforehand. You might want to turn them on to Zombies, the reanimated series. There's a non-binary alien in there as one of the
Cool.
characters. It's based off of a series of movies, apparently. I watched the first. They gave me screeners for the first 2 episodes, so I could be ready for the press junket. And it's definitely for kids.
Okay.
But
Cool.
yeah, they have, you know, they slip that they them no problem.
Love it.
If you haven't seen The Dragon Prince yet, that's a good one for kids.
Oh, come on, Jamie. Of course I've seen the Dragon Prince. I think they're probably not there yet.
That's true. It is Y7, but they're still kind of young.
Right now, it's all they like Batgirl, they like Spider-Man, they call him Mans. And then other than that, it's all Peppa Pig.
Have they
Peppa
developed a
Pig,
British
Bluey,
accent?
Blippi. Actually, they did call me Mummy for a little bit. It was actually adorable. I know DC and Marvel both have really cool for kid stuff, junior superhero lines that I'm trying to get them into as they get old enough, just so that they know what the good stuff is, you know? I don't care what they grow up as long as it's not, you know, conservatively evangelical.
Oh,
I think other than that, but
Father's Day is coming up, and my sisters and I were like, "Oh, it's Father's Day." Like,
awkward.
yeah, we're just. I was like, I don't even know what my dad is into anymore. Like, I used to be able to get him like, oh, like he used to go golfing, so it's like, oh, I could buy him like golf stuff, or like, you know, snacks was always a good thing, but diabetes runs in the family and he has it now, so like, I'm like, I can't even get him snacks. And so I was like, I don't know what he's into. And my older sister's like, oh no, we know what he's into. We just don't want to pay money towards it. And I'm like,
We know what he's into.
That's true. Well, he's into conservative Republican garbage. So
I'm fortunate in that my dad, as people who have read the tiny plug, people who have read the True War Stories comic anthology that I did with Alex Campy, which we just signed a contract with Image to do a second printing with a digital version. And if it does well, we're getting a second volume. But people who read my dad's Vietnam story in there, my dad's youth was more of the, I had to go to work because this is the age that I live in, but I smoke a lot of pot and play with dogs. that was his story. So I'm fortunate in that my dad is not a Trumper. and he struggles with my trans brother, but that's because he's old and he doesn't want to admit that he can't hear very well and his memory is bad. He won't admit it. So fortunately, I think what I'm getting him this year is I might get just for nerdy things. I think I'm going to get him some old comics from the year he was born. So maybe that's a good suggestion for you, Jamie, because if he reads them, you'll be like, Dad, the year you were born, here are some Silver Age comics. And he'll be like, why would you give me this? And then he'll read them and be like, I have forsaken the ideals of my childhood for a false print on a golden toilet.
All right. Sorry for getting
And
us
of course,
off topic.
speaking of 34-time felon, former President Donald Trump, but sorry, I just had to drop that 34-time felon in every single chance that I get. Do you mean 34-time convicted felon?
In a row?
Oh, sorry.
No, it just reminded me of learning news via the Dustiel.
Yeah.
On Tumblr. But that also made me think, I know we don't talk about the show that shall not be named.
About Dustiel.
Well, apparently, Jensen Ackles has finally admitted that yes, it was a love confession from Cass. Yeah. So,
but my point was that oh god, I don't remember their character name.
Oh yeah, the werewolf and the vampire.
Yeah. DJ Qualls is the one, and I don't know the other actor's name.
Hi,
they're getting married.
Yeah.
Hi, Olsen.
For a show that was so like aggressively heterosexual, there was a lot of queerness around it. Like, because the script itself was aggressively heterosexual, but literally everything else, like the chemistry between the actors, the fan base, like everything else was not.
Ostensibly heterosexual. Practically everyone is gay.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, on a scale of how you handle supernatural creatures, you have supernatural, good omens, and you know we can't all be good omens.
Yeah.
We can't all be Neil Gaiman and go, well, I mean, they're technically angels, so any kind of romance they have is all queer. So wherever you want to go with that is fine by me as the creator. I bless you off.
They're not humans, so they don't have human sexuality.
Yeah, man, David Tennant really is like an ultimate ally. Like he is so good. He uses his position like to speak up for the community so much. Like, oh, bless. Anyway, the bisexual doctor, they're all bi, but like he's the one that got to say it. And non-binary character on Good Omens because they're all non-binary because all angels are. And yes.
Are we still in news or are we in recommendations?
Well, that was the last discussion point, unless anybody, because you and Angie didn't have anything on there. So if there was anything you wanted to talk about.
It's Pride. If everyone would like to go to Pride festivals, I see that Angel has their Pride flag out. My sister came and dropped these off that she made for us to go to DC Pride tomorrow. Please enjoy. And then she made these this is for her because she's like a fashion queen and would never wear a white t-shirt in her whole ass life. And then these are for the kids.
Oh.
That's okay. My wife works for the LA LGBT Center and we have and
Love it. Love it.
Nice.
Go to Pride events, people.
My shirt is just... it's a unicorn with ace colors.
Nice.
I love it.
But I always hate because the way the camera frames, you can't ever see the shirts that I'm wearing, and I usually wear appropriate t-shirts for whatever we're talking about.
Ruby has really good shirts, and we'll never see them until we get 6 people on a webcast, and we can have some vertical portrait mode. But it's usually 4 or 5 people, and we get.
Yep. My flag is up year round, but yes, that is my celebration.
I have a flag that hangs down here, but my daughter has decided to wear it around in what I'm hoping is a sign, but we'll see.
All right. Was there any other any other Pride related topics? Do you guys want to see the pictures again?
I want to get into Pride pitches. I'm going to be honest. I waited this whole webcast with a raging migraine because I was so excited about our Pride pitches.
We still
Okay.
have recommendations before
Yeah.
that, though, technically. But
Ooh, okay. Oh, I'm excited about that too.
Okay, I'll go first because I'm first on the list. Semantic error. I have been wanting to write a rec about this show for like a year, and I just haven't for whatever reason. It's a Korean BL. Korean BLs are usually about 8 episodes. They're half-an-hour episodes, so it's a really easy binge. Semantic error is fantastic. It's like enemies to lovers. It's so good. And I don't know, I haven't read the manhwa, so I don't know if it's actually confirmed, but one of the characters is like autistic coded. So, but it's like it is, I love it. So semantic error. And the author of the manhwa is coming to Anime NYC, so I am like super stoked about that because I will be there.
Down the list. I'll pick up the next one because I'm next on the list. This is more something I think speaks to the community. Parasocial. It's a graphic novel by Alex DeCampi and Erica Henderson. It is a really, really, really good story about the relationship between actors of our favorite shows and the fans and the audience that loves them, and like how that can go right and how that can go very, very, very wrong.
So tweeting at an actor because he kisses his friend.
Yeah.
I was literally just going to call you out, Jamie. I was just going to call out your drama. It's so relevant. It was nominated an Eisner. It is so good, you guys. And I may be a little bit biased because I did read this during development. But I will say that Alex went kind of out of her way to actually take a lot of feedback of what diehard fans are really like. So it's not, haha, fans are crazy, let's all make fun of fans. It's more like, hey, here's a really complicated character getting way up in their head and doing some things that are not great, but the actor also not great. I don't want to get too much into it because you don't want it spoiled for you. I don't know that I could because it's one of those stories where what you bring to it is going to influence what you get out of it. Parasocial, Alex Campy. Go read it. It's really good. Anywhere books are sold. But buy it from your local comic store.
Next.
Yep, go for it.
Angie?
Okay. Dead Boy Detectives, Dead Boy Detectives, Dead Boy Detectives.
I've been waiting the whole time. It's Papa died again. I'm just gonna keep that down here.
If you are not watching this show, you should be. And if you're afraid that because it's technically in the same universe as the Sandman, don't be. There's hardly any crossover. I mean, you get like 2 of the characters, Death and Despair. But you don't have to know anything about the Sandman universe in order to get it. It is just the best show. This is my newest obsession. I've watched it like 3 or 4 times now, and I usually try to space out my rewatching because when I was little, my mom would tease me about that, so I space it out.
This week because I knew you were going to be talking about it, so I'm like, I'm going to watch it. So that.
But yeah, it's about 2. They call them boys, but they're in their, the actors themselves are in their 20s and they're playing like 17-year-olds. So I hesitate at the word boy. But they are both ghosts. One died in the Victorian times through Victorian. They did a demon raising. And that went wrong. Accidentally, that went wrong. And the other one is
you do.
The other one is dead in the 80s from bullying and was standing up for in a bully, and they become friends and possibly more so based on the comics of the same name. Comics are from Neil Gaiman, but the show is Denton Yankee. So, but he's got that Neil Gaiman feel to him. to it, so it does feel like Neil Gaiman, if that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, almost every character is queer and on the autistic spectrum. But the whole story arc, not to spoil it, Edwin, the Victorian one, comes to terms with him being gay, basically, and realizing that that's something that A, he is, and B, is okay to be. Because obviously, having been born in the 1800s, that was not something he could be doing back then. And the George Rexter, who plays him, just has such an energy about him that he reminds me of a young Benedict Cumberbatch back when Cumberbatch was still, playing happy characters.
I saw a Tumblr post on this, and because I saw the Tumblr post before I watched the show, so I saw it. But it was like when Edwin walks, he doesn't just walk. Every time he turns around, he swivels and he sachets, and I'm like, that is such a gay walk.
Yes, yes, and he just his whole demeanor. But it's not a stereotype at the same time, which I'm glad to. But yeah, we've got a lesbian butcher who goes on a date, and we've got one character that we don't really know one way or the other. But the main story is the two boys. Edwin is in love with Charles. Charles actually responds to the love confession with, "Okay, I know you love me." And just go. I mean, and then he's like, "I don't know what that means right now, but we'll get to that soon." Yeah. It's not a turn down necessarily, but it's not "I love you back." So I'm hoping for a season. Yeah, I'm hoping for a second season so we can get more of their interactions, because they have some great chemistry. The two leads. I mean, the whole cast is great, but.
It's a really good show. Yeah,
it's a really good show. I love it, and I can't think of a single bad thing to say about it other than there's only one season.
Why is Netflix so married to 8-episode seasons? Why can you what
Well, I know why they're married to 3 seasons.
Because of the
actors tend to get the high ground on the 3rd season on and can start asking for more money. So that's why they very rarely.
Another reason to watch Asian shows, because once the show is it's done. That's it. There's no you don't have to worry about, oh no, it's gonna get canceled and there's gonna be a cliffhanger. It's done. This is a complete story. There you go.
But yeah, I wrote a full recommendation. It's on the Geekiary if you haven't read it yet. So if you want to learn more, but I'm in a Facebook group. I reblog it on Tumblr. There's a big strong presence on Twitter as well. So. See it now.
Yeah.
All right.
You know how importantly Netflix takes those first month streaming numbers. So
yes,
I really do. If I like something, I will play it again, even though I'm not watching it. I'll start it playing on my computer upstairs and then go downstairs just to make sure it gets some higher numbers.
Yeah, I did that with Shadow and Bone. I legitimately would just start. If on the days that I was working from home, I would just start episode 1 as soon as I started my shift, and then when the show and the series, when it was over, that was the end of my shift. So didn't work, but that was also a very expensive show to film. So
yes.
Anyway.
All right. Well, since Freed's not here, we'll go ahead and skip his recommendation because I haven't watched it yet. He's recommending Interview with the Vampire Season 2, and I forgot that came out, didn't it?
Yeah.
No.
I've been seeing spoilers on Tumblr.
I need to watch it.
I'm like,
yeah,
I don't.
4 episodes so far, I think.
Oh my god, I need to catch up. Oh my god, that's another pile.
Other means.
So I've got 1 episode of The Acolyte, 2 episodes of Doctor Who, and now 4 seasons of Interview with the Vampire to catch up on, and then House of the Dragon's coming back next week. Oh my god, so much TV. Okay, but anyway, since he's not here and I haven't caught up, we'll skip to mine. I have 2 recommendations. One is a show, one is a comedian. The show is just to invite people back to watch Doctor Who again, because I know a lot of people stopped watching, but I think that this new season is probably some of the best writing since Matt Smith's first season. His seasons kind of went downhill, but the first season I thought was really great for him, and I feel like we have some of the best content since then. So if you left Doctor Who because it was starting to bore you and you didn't like the writing, come back. I think it's worth it. My second
I
recommendation.
will never ever forgive them for not having writing on point during the female doctor. I'm sorry.
I know. No, I agree.
I will
'cause
never
was so
forgive
excited.
them.
I was so
She
excited,
was
but
so good.
that writing was not
Sorry,
good.
I'm sorry, Angel, to interrupt you.
You're
She was
100%
such a good
correct.
actress. They
I
failed.
feel-
They failed the fandom.
I
And
feel
the
like they
characters.
do that kind of stuff on purpose. It's like, oh, see,
I
we
think they
can't
did
have a
too.
female doctor because
But
she
people
doesn't do
didn't
well.
like
Nobody
her.
watches.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm salty about that every fucking time.
You're
well,
absolutely correct. Well, there's
all of
always
them.
going to be an F-bomb on these shows. No worries.
Yeah, it's usually me, so thanks for taking that.
well, and I'm usually salty about Stephen Moffat. I'm still not forgiving him for Sherlock season 4.
Oh yeah,
Is there
I'm
such a
very
thing?
salty about him too because like I said, I feel like Matt Smith's first season was good, and then it started to go downhill, and I feel like that was the beginning of the decline. Was a lot of his fault. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
but
but
anyway,
good to be
We could do a
you.
whole thing on it. I could do a whole thing just on Doctor Who. That's my other
Alright,
series that
We
I have about.
need to do a feelings after dark where we all just smack talk everything we hate.
Oh my god, that would
I love
actually be
that.
good. Because I was like,
Dude.
the last few webcasts have just been like me and Fareed, and we just get off on tangent, like trash talking and stuff.
dude,
Usually
that would
Teal.
be fun.
They are
So-
entertaining to watch.
That would be a really fun concept. I have the other concept for a show where we do like board games, and we can talk about that offline. But like, there's a lot of webcast ideas, but I like that one where we just like complain about people, which is basically what I've been doing anyway.
We could call it table salt.
Okay, my other recommendation is a comedian, so not usually the type of thing that we would recommend here, but I have been like binging his stuff for like the past week. His name's called he's called Matteo Lane, and his comedy centers around two things mostly: being gay and being Italian, which are both mines for hilarity. Like, so I just recommend Googling him and looking him up on YouTube. He has his special is called, I think, Hair Plugs and Heartbreak. And it's fantastic. And then he also has the advice special where he just asks people in the audience for questions and he gives them advice, and it's amazing. So those are my recommendations.
Okay. Any other recommendations people want to? Okay. So we'll move on to what Kai has been waiting for, which is Pride Pitches, which was Kai's idea for a topic. So, because normally at this point in the webcast, we would have a question. I couldn't really.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Jamie froze.
Oh, no, Jamie froze.
No, that's actually what happened. Is Jamie froze?
I can never think of
Couldn't
questions.
think of a question.
Oh, no.
Am I back?
And uh-oh. Oh my god. You've gotten so, like,
Jamie, you're
There, wait.
skipping.
Am I back?
Kinda. You're frozen. We can hear you. There you are.
God.
Hi.
Oh, hi.
It was this.
No, you're still not quite back.
Seriously?
Okay.
Is it-
How about Kai? You take it away, and then Jamie, when she comes back, can do hers.
Are you back, Jamie?
Am I?
No, I'll go. You fiddle with your signal. Okay, Pride pitches. So the whole idea here is you have to pitch a piece of media with queer MCs from the start explicitly. Jamie has a great one. You know what, Jamie? I
Am I
feel like
back?
Jamie can't fiddle with her signal because she is hosting the webcast. So the idea is to pitch a piece of it could be a TV show, it could be a movie. That list got really shorter than I thought it was going to be in my head. Jamie, if you're back, do you want to
Am
go
I
first?
back?
Because I can see you moving.
Am I
Yeah,
back?
you go first.
Yay!
I hate because I was like, my internet is like, I will be literally connected. I was like, I'll be on my phone, I'll be watching my smart TV, and my computer will be like, you don't have internet. And I'm like, I clearly have internet. So anyway, I better do this
Online
fast
now.
before I get
Yes,
kicked
go,
off.
come.
So my idea, it wasn't really, it was just more of a concept, but Off and Gun, who remember Off and Gun, had a concert like about a month ago, and this was Gunn's outfit for one of their songs.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
They did "Hit Me Up," and there, like, it had, you know, like, this is from them, and then like this is from that, and so everybody in the fandom was like, we need to see Gunn as like a dominatrix. So that's what I want. I want an Off and Gun show where Gunn is like a dominatrix. They'll never do it.
What would be
They
the
might do it.
vibes? What would be the tone of it? Are you looking for like a drama? Are you looking for a
Oh, drama, yeah, because their fifth BL is coming out at some point this year, and most of them are like rom-com-y kind of things. But then they had one, Not Me, which is they're trying to bring down a corrupt businessman by like setting his summer house on fire, you know, that kind of thing.
I think a BDSM comedy would be quite amazing, though, to be honest.
Off is actually really good at comedy, but I'd like to see them do something a little more serious, more adult, because they're in their 30s. Like, they really should be doing like stuff as 30-year-olds instead of being like, well, because the last show, The Cooking Crush, which I did an unboxing for that because I got the box set the other day, was when the pilot trailer first came out. I was like, oh, thank God they're adults, because like Off was supposed to be a doctor, and like and then Gunn was supposed to be a chef, and then when the actual show came out, it's like, oh no, they're in college. Like, Off was in med school, and then Gunn was in culinary school, and I was like, these men are in their 30s. Please just let them be in their 30s. But I would love something. I don't know what. Maybe even if he has to just go undercover as something, or like Assassins. I am really married to this assassin. Anyway, I just really want to see Gunn dressed like that in the show.
more buckles? All right.
Not sure how that shirt stayed on. Like, the physics of that outfit, I'm still trying to figure out.
Hope and a prayer.
It has to be just like a really expensive fabric with a very high tensile strength. That has to be it.
I'm sure. This is super off topic, but Gunn makes me feel poor, like everything that he does, because he does TikToks where he does fit checks, and it's legitimately like he's wearing my annual salary. Because it's like he has at least 2 Birkin bags.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, those are very, very expensive bags.
You have to be on like a wait list, and in order to get on the wait list for one of those bags, you have to have spent like millions of dollars at that company or whatever, or something stupid, maybe thousands, but still dumb money.
His closet is like the size of my living room. I'm like, really? Like, anyway.
I'll be completely honest. I'm not very into the Birkin bags. I know that's heresy. I know they have some more.
I mean, I don't really
ones.
care about bags in general.
No, but I know what you mean.
His videos are cute because I love him. So.
Yeah. I think I'm next. I'm next. Yay. Okay, so here's my pitch. It started out as a joke, and now I'm like, oh God, do I actually have to write this?
Probably.
I do not have time. But so the only queer kids in a small town school are assigned by a new principal to form a GSA to gain access to a federal grant. But so there are 7 of them, and their names actually start with the letters of rainbow, but no one really acknowledges that. That's just like a little thing in there for fans to kind of suss out. I am really bored and sick and tired of homophobia. It makes me sad. So this show is going to have similar vibes to Community. I want it to be very silly. Like there's a few turds in the pool, but it's mostly like a really good, funny romp about flawed, well-meaning people trying to do the right thing. Like I feel like the principal gets a bunch of flags and puts them in the classroom, the first day, and the kids are all in here like they don't know each other. You know, they're from across different grades. They're all kind of just being brought together. They've seen each other because they're the only queer kids in the school. One of them wasn't out and is a little salty about it, or was recently outed by somebody else, but everyone's trying to be really nice to them. I feel like there's a whole scene in the first episode where they go into the classroom and all the flags are hung up, and somebody looks around and they're like, "Well, that one's Libya, so maybe not that one." They're like pulling it, and some of them are for like micronations or like a soda bottling company, and really it was just the principal went online and bought a bunch of flags she didn't recognize, assuming they were pride flags.
Is that the Italian
I think
flag?
it could look. This could be really good. I think you would just have to really watch the tone and make sure everyone's laughing, and keep it again at that community level where everything is sort of farcical and silly, and everyone can have a laugh without punching down. I thought Community did that very well. I thought it made everything funny without punching down. I also think it should be called Flags. That's my tentative working title. So if you guys see that come out in like 3 years, how long is the production pipeline for a web series? Is it like 3 years? If you guys see that coming, or if somebody wants to take this idea off me, contact is on the website. I have time to write the series. Angel, did you have one?
I do not. No.
I can come up with something. I still want the screwball romantic comedy starring Colin Firth and Hugh Grant as our leads, with the B couple Sandra Bullock and Meg Ryan.
Yes.
And just all the standard tropes of screwball romantic comedies, but it just is gay.
What about if Sandra Bullock and oh my God, no. What if Colin Firth and Sandra Bullock and then Meg Ryan and Hugh Grant are roommates? And everyone's like, oh my God, they're roommates. And so everyone's shipping them really hard. And they're involved, I don't know, they're involved in some sort of, what's something terribly British or socialite? They're involved in some sort of charity competition, like a charity race. And everyone's shipping them, but they're like everyone's shipping them like this, but they're shipping like this.
And they were roommates. No, for real.
Oh my God,
that would be the title, and they were roommates.
I love it.
This isn't
No,
a
we
pitch,
can't get more
but-
tropes in here. More tropes. Okay.
More tropes.
2 of them work in a bakery, and the other 2 are
Coffee shop?
Flower shop.
Coffee shop?
Oh no, you're right. One of them, there's a flower shop and a bakery, and they work in the same building. And so
It's a trope
2
ducking.
of them work.
I really want to see this
Flower
in
shop and a
something.
bakery.
So
What
I read a
is it?
fic. It's a buddy fic. And it was basically like in the era where Buck had a girlfriend, and like it's a flower shop AU, and like Eddie goes into a flower shop, and he's basically like, and I'm gonna swear, he goes, "How do I say fuck you in flowers?"
God, I wrote a fic. I wrote a fic to that title, but I won't tell you what fandom it is. I'm not going to out myself.
But yeah, so I was like, I really just want to see that in something where it was like, every time you see somebody being like, oh, this flower means like eternal love or whatever, I'm like, this flower means like get fucked. Like,
In
I
a
wanna
not
see
fun
that.
way.
yeah, in the bad way. I was like, so we can have
Not
that.
funny.
We can have that in the Colin Firth Hugh Grant.
I was going to say, that was one of my favorite prompts in that was one of my favorite Tumblr prompts a few years ago. How do I passive aggressively say fuck you?
Mm-hmm. I know that someone did a Sherlock AU with that as the plot too.
Sorry for the viewers, but I am dropping for the team in our private chat the fic so that they can read it, because and I want Jamie to pass me the one she was talking about.
I'll have to find it. So like, I'm sure I could Google it. It shouldn't be that well. I would have been able to Google it maybe like a month ago, but I don't know.
Yeah, Google's busted. You can no longer
Google's
Google
getting
things.
weird.
It legitimately
if I
takes
get
stuff
one
from the
more
Onion.
wrong AI answer, I'm gonna scream, you guys.
Google is telling
I
people
need
to
an
eat glue.
extension that just skips. Yeah, no, they legitimately are. And I like plants, and I've really been into urban foraging for like the last year because of Alexis Nicole on TikTok. And you don't know her, Google her. She's like, well, don't Google her. Jesus, just go on TikTok and let's just
TikToker, I guess.
go.
Do not Google. It'll tell you to
Yeah,
eat like poison.
every time I Google plants on there, like there's like a 50-50 chance about whether I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
I've seen the one where they ask about the mushroom and it's like deadly, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this is fine."
Oh God.
I think it's crazy because they use the AI, and I'm like, natural language. Oh, I'm gonna get into my nerd here for a minute, guys. Natural language programming, which helps computers understand language and comprehend it instead of just taking it as like verbatim input put into cells, is not at the level yet where you can safely ask about anything and get reliable information. Really, the only thing it's good for is who was in this movie. And
I wonder
Anyway,
if you
we're all
ask
gonna
it about Goncharov. If
I'm
they,
Googling
if
that right
it's
now.
a real movie.
Now it's like if I have to,
Gone
I use DuckDuckGo now, but like even so, like you got to put words like Wikipedia or Reddit into it so you can get like legitimate answers. Like, because if you just randomly ask, you get tons of crap at this point. So, but anyway,
I
I've
used to have a
definitely gone
teacher
off.
who would get mad about us using Wikipedia, and I'd say, I'm sorry, I use Wikipedia to find sources that I vet and then cite. And she's like, well, and I was like, yeah, Wikipedia doesn't let anything on there without a source for very long. So as long as you're using it wisely.
Found it.
Yeah. Again, sorry, audience. We're going to be enjoying this later. Wow, that sounded creepy. Let's get moving.
Oh, I've already
What else
mentioned
we
it.
got?
It's called 1,000 Ways to Say I Hate You. It is a Buck and Eddie fic from 911. That is how to say F you in flowers. So if you're a buddy shipper,
All right. I'm not, but I'm going to read it anyway for you.
this wasn't really a pitch of mine, but I don't really have anywhere else to talk about this stuff other than on these. So I have noticed like GMMTV, because the BL pairings are set pairs. They do a lot of concerts, despite the fact that most of them can't sing. And they have much better concepts for their concerts than some of their shows. Like they do a concept trailer for their concerts. And so last year it was called Love Out Loud, and there was like 9 pairs or something like that. So there's like 18 of them. And the concept was they were assassins. And so the video trailer was like them, like somebody was like hacking into something and someone was like rappelling down the wall. And I'm like, where is that? Where is that show? This year it was pirates. They were all pirates. So I would really like to see pirates. But also 2 of the actors, Jung and Dunk, have been talking about they want to do a vampire series. I really feel like they should just let them do their vampire series, even though there's like 5 vampire BLs coming out this year.
You can never have too much vampires.
I was gonna say, aren't there enough vampire BLs coming out?
There's so many coming out.
All of the ones that get recommended to me are a vampire currently. Maybe that says something about me.
And I do want to plug this. It's not out yet, but they're in workshops. So I think they're doing the script right now. I actually, because I did that whole trailer wrap up thing after GMMTV dropped it, but there's one coming out called The Heart Killers, and it's First and Tung and Jung and Dunk, and it's based on 10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh,
which is based on Taming of the Shrew. But it's so the 2, like it's brothers, and the brothers are assassins because I love assassins. So they're assassins, and then the one guy is like has to get close to them. So he's the the Joseph Gordon-Levitt character, Cameron. He's the Cameron, and he's trying to get close, and he needs to find a boyfriend for the other one, and then and it just looks like it looks like it's going to be ridiculous, and it's by the director that did Only Friends, which was bonkers. So, yay! But I have no idea when that comes out because, like I said, they're like legitimately writing the script right now. So,
yeah. I don't even know when it's coming out at this point.
Well, that's a problem with the Thai show. Like, you have no idea until they drop the trailer that it's coming out, and they usually drop the trailer like 3 weeks before it starts.
Ooh.
So it's just like you can generally sort of predict when something is going to come out based on whether or not it's done filming and what other shows are currently airing. Because there's a show airing on Sundays right now that only has, I think, 2 episodes left. So something has to fill in that slot. And right now I can only think of like 2 shows that are done.
That might be ready.
Yeah. So, and one of them is Off and Gun's new show, but they literally just had a show. So I don't know if they're going to like table that for later or if they're just going to put it out. But anyway, I could really talk about BLs for a long time, so I'll save you guys. Did anybody have anything else before we wrap up? Okay, so we'll just wrap it up then. I am Jamie, along with Angel, Angie, and Kai, who finally joined us. Thank you again for joining us for Feelings with the Geekiary. Remember that we are a free webcast run off of donations from viewers like you. Thanks for contributing and helping our host site, the Geekiary. And we'll see you next time, where we might trash talk people.
Stay gay.
We're probably going to.
Yeah.